Hey, Warren Eckstein here. I can't imagine anything more devastating than having your dog or your cat stolen. But there are things you can do. Now, I put together this whole thing. I'm going to teach you how not only protect your dogs, but what you can do if your dog is stolen as well. First of all, I could not believe this number myself. The last time I talked about this, there were 1 million dogs a year being stolen in the United States. Well, now, according to the American Kennel Club, over 2 million reports of stolen dogs a year are now taking place in the United States, and it's really devastating. But there are things you can do. Now, years ago, you would use common sense like, close the gate and keep your dog inside and know where your dog is, which are all important things I'll go over with you. But I don't know if that holds water anymore. In recent times, just in Los Angeles alone, two or three French bulldogs were stolen not from the backyard, not out of a car, which are normal places, but actually while people were walking them. So thieves are becoming a lot more blatant when it comes to stealing your dog, specifically certain breeds of dogs. Obviously, we know the French bulldog is one that's stolen pretty frequently, and other breeds, poodles, schnauzers, most pedigree dogs. But there are things you can do. Now, I put a list together, and one of the things I want you to do is really take heed to this because everyone thinks it's not going to be me, it's not going to be my dog that's going to get stolen. Well, it could be your dog. I hear reports at least once or twice a week from listeners around the country saying, well, their dog got lost, their dog was stolen, their dog got out of the backyard. So here's some things I'm going to recommend. And I do this with my own dogs. Now, my dogs should be well trained. Well, they should be well trained. Molly and Willie are adorable, and they're trained enough for me. But listen, in my backyard, I have a 7-foot fence that goes around the entire yard. Every single gate has a lock on it. Not one, but two locks on it. Why? Am I that crazy? Maybe I am a little crazy because I hear all the horror stories. But here's the thing that I think about constantly. The gardener comes, the sanitation comes, there's a repairman in the backyard, and they leave a gate open. It's not their fault, but they leave a gate open accidentally. However, if all of my gates are locked all of the time, I don't have that fear because no one's coming in unless they open the lock and I'm the only one that has the key. But that shouldn't be enough to stop you. Thieves are really blatant. They'll climb over fences, they'll get ladders. If they want to get your dog, they're going to get your dog. So here's a couple of things you can do. Now, this may sound a little crazy, but spay and neuter your dog. And especially neutered male dogs are much less apt to be stolen because they want to use them for breeding purposes. Or female dogs, I don't know if they can tell if the female dog is spayed, but have them spayed and neutered for other reasons as well. But protection-wise, in terms of being stolen, a neutered dog is less apt to be stolen. The other thing is install cameras in your yard. I have cameras in my yard. Now, I don't know why I have cameras in my yard because my dogs are never in my yard unless I'm there, but the cameras are a good way just to check things around and look in every nook and corner. And here's something that I was even unaware of. I want to share this with you because it just kind of came up in a conversation the other day. A lot of people put signs up that say, dog here, beware of dog. I got one in my backyard. It says, my dog can make it to the gate in 30 seconds. How fast can you make it to the gate? However, now they're saying that putting up those signs actually advertises that there's dogs in the backyard. So maybe thieves are more apt to kind of go to those homes where they see those signs. And in terms of fences and gates, as I said, it's so critical to make sure that your fence is really, really, there's no such thing as a thief-proof fence, but the bottom line is you want to make sure that your dog or cat shouldn't be outside anyway unless you're with them, but your dog should not be able to get out and people should not be able to get in. Easier said than done. Listen, why are dogs stolen? You know why they're stolen. They're stolen to be sold to puppy mills for breeding purposes if they're not spayed and neutered, just another reason to spay and neuter. They're stolen for bait dogs, horrible, horrible bait dogs and dog fighting rings. And they're stolen just because people say, I want that dog. I want one of those dogs. I want that dog. I want this dog. That dog's cute or whatever. And in some cases, dogs are stolen because the guardians that live with the dogs are actually mistreating the dog. So people say, it's tied up in the backyard, gets no attention, no food, no water, so I'm just going to take the dog. There's no reason. You can report that. You don't have to steal the dog on them. Unless it's extreme circumstances, I've been known to do that as well. I'm going through papers here. And the reason I'm doing this, I want to make sure I hit every single topic because it just breaks my heart. I can't imagine it happening to me, but I can't imagine anyone going through the loss of a dog that's being stolen. Here are the most common places for dogs that are stolen. Number one, as I said, your backyard or your garden. That is the most common place. Number two, for those people that still continue, and I see it every day right here in Santa Monica or New York City, tie their dog outside of the drugstore to go inside and shop. They tie their dog outside to go have a meal. They tie their dog outside Very, very common for dogs to be stolen outside of shops or businesses. The other thing is, and I talked about this the other day because I saw someone lock their dog in a car. I almost broke the window because it was hot outside, but the guy came. But more important is that you should never ever leave your dog in a car. I don't care if you have a Lexus with the electricity and you can leave the air conditioning on. Dogs are stolen. And now, generally speaking, some people that have the more expensive car, like the Lexus, the electric car, some thieves might think they're more apt to have a more valuable dog. In terms of dollars and cents? There's no such thing as a more valuable dog in terms of personality. Much of my favorite, but parks also. You take your dog to the park. You want to let him run loose, unless you can have a 24/7 eye on your dog. Don't let them run loose. And kennels as well. A lot of times, dogs are stolen from kennels also. You know, there are so many things that we can do to help prevent our dogs from being stolen, but lots of time we don't think about it. It's late at night, we're doing this, we're running to grab something caught, we'll let our dog outside in the backyard. Please know where your dogs are. 2 million dogs, 2 million dogs stolen last year. I can't imagine the feeling, and I'm sure you guys can't imagine the feeling as well. With the information I've given you, you can be safe. If your dog's in your backyard, no matter how big the fence is, locks on all fences, be there with them. Now, here's an example of something I do. My gardener comes every Thursday. All right. So what I do is on Thursdays, my dogs are kept inside and they're not outside until the garden is left. And I've gone outside personally and checked every single nook and cranny, every single lock on the gate to make sure they're safe. So please, I know this may sound a little eccentric. I know it may sound a little overboard, but please, I don't want you ever to go through I've seen too many people and worked with too many people who have gone through it. I don't want to see anyone ever go through the loss of a pet by being stolen. And so please follow the advice I gave you. Know where your dogs are at all times, and we can prevent that problem. I don't want to see the number go from 2 million to 3 million. So I know you don't think it's going to be you, but take it from me. It could be you, it could be me, it could be anybody. So a little precaution go a long, long way. Don't miss the pet show on Saturday. We'll talk to you then.